Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the AM Report for Happs News, the network of now. It is Monday, January 25th, and today we're going to be talking about this impeachment trial that's coming up for Donald Trump. We're learning more and more about his plot to circumvent democracy and how this may not bode well for him in his upcoming impeachment hearing. We've got a lot of Joe Biden news. We've got a theme for every day of the week this week with all the actions that Joe Biden has planned. We're going to give you updates on that and cover some of today's top headlines this morning on the AM Report. Good morning, everybody. I'm Alex Mahajer. Thank you so much for joining. If you're watching on the Happs app, website, or platform, click the award button. Let us know you're enjoying the program. If you're watching on Facebook, Reddit, YouTube, Twitter, Periscope, leave a comment. We'll read it live on air, bat around with one another. We've got a lot of people joining already this morning. Good morning, Mark Goldman from Los Angeles. Thank you so much. Thank you for the comments this morning. Seeing everybody chiming in from across the country and around the world. It's good to see you all. And how are you feeling this Monday morning? Let me know. I would love to know how it feels to have weekends now where you're not fearing the end of our democracy or some sort of catastrophic nuclear event because of the former president. So good to see you all this morning. Hope your weekend was as restful as it could be. Hello from Dallas, says Heavenly Dew. Good to see you. And hope you're all staying safe and protected from COVID. Socially distancing and wearing those masks. Very, very important. We've got a lot of headlines to cover this morning, so we're going to jump just right into it. First and foremost, more boss moves planned by President Biden. This morning, we're learning about some more executive actions that will be coming out today. He's going to sign a Buy American executive order today that will seek to amp up American manufacturing by directing various federal agencies to strengthen the requirements about purchasing products and services from U.S. workers and businesses. He's looking to cut red tape to make that happen and to create a position in his Office of Budget and Management to enforce this directive. So remember when Donald Trump was talking about America first? It looks like Joe Biden wants to actually make that a reality by amping up American manufacturing and creating incentives to buy American products and from American workers and businesses. So that's going to happen today. That's expected to come out today. And big news for the LGBTQ community. This morning, the president will sign an executive order that will overturn Donald Trump's transgender military ban. This will happen as soon as the newly confirmed Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin is sworn into office at the White House. If you guys will recall, in 2017, Trump banned transgender people from serving in the military, and he tweeted, and I quote, that he would not accept or allow transgender individuals to serve in any capacity in the U.S. military. So today, a big win for LGBTQ Americans and advocates of LGBTQ rights and civil rights. Really saying we will not bar you from serving your country because of because you're transgender, a person who's transgender. It's a big win for the community. So something to celebrate, and expanded civil rights. It appears to be the modus operandi of this new administration. And it's not going to be just today that we get these kind of exciting executive actions. If you're a progressive, these are exciting. I'm sure that they're very upsetting for bigots across America, but progressives very excited, and Biden has a theme for every day of the week this week. That's not a joke. Joe Biden has a theme. Like, we're going to have a theme party every day of the week this week. So today it's Buy American. Tomorrow it's going to be about equity. Wednesday will be climate. Thursday will be healthcare. And Friday will be immigration. So it's like, get your party hats, guys, because tomorrow is Equity Day in the Biden administration's first 100 days. And he has really, he's promised really bold, swift action on a lot of fronts, and has a lot of crises to juggle in his first 100 days. So very, very fitting that he should be theming the days, which I just thought was kind of cute and funny and exciting. And on top of these executive orders and these actions that he's got planned for the week, Joe Biden is pushing his $1.9 trillion COVID-19 health and economic recovery stimulus package that he wants bipartisan support for in the Congress. He gave a speech yesterday about some of his objectives with this COVID-19 relief package. So let's hear a little bit from President Biden regarding his objectives with the COVID-19 bill.
Look, our recovery plan also calls for an increase in the minimum wage at least $15 an hour. No one in America should work 40 hours a week making below the poverty line. $15 gets people above the poverty line. We have so many millions of people working 40 hours a week, working, and some with 2 jobs, and they're still below the poverty line. We're going to finish the job of getting a total of $2,000 in direct payments to folks. $600, which was already passed, is simply not enough if you still have to choose between paying your rent, putting food on the table. We'll extend unemployment insurance benefits for millions of workers beyond the deadline that's now set. It means that 16 million Americans who are currently relying on unemployment benefits while they look for work can count on these checks continuing to be there in the middle of this crisis.
So that's President Joe Biden talking about his desire to pass a COVID-19 stimulus package that will include $15 minimum wage for most people, and to get people stimulus checks up to $2,000. It would be a $1,400 check to get you to the $2,000 that the Democratic members of Congress wanted for people, and was not passed before the expiration of Donald Trump's term. We got a question from HM Powered Man. Let's see. He says, I make 100,000. He or she, I'm guessing a he, but I make $100,000 a year. Will I get this new stimulus? As I understand it, HM Powered Man, you won't. If you make $100,000 a year, they tiered off the income requirements to receive this stimulus, and you seem to be very upset about this. You're saying it's such BS. Another commenter saying you won't get one. I didn't either. He said, someone else says, I mean, I'm blessed, but I want people to get money. Yeah, so if you make $100,000 a year, I'm guessing that the government doesn't feel that you are in dire straits and need stimulus relief or economic relief due to unemployment or being in a difficult financial situation. That is what I'm assuming is the reasoning there. But yes, it's tiered by income. So Joe Biden's COVID-19 package, he is pushing that simultaneous to his executive orders. He wants Congress to pass that with bipartisan support. And in other news, let's talk about some impeachment news. The House is planning to send House Democrats are planning to send their one article of impeachment for incitement to insurrection against former President Donald Trump to the Senate tonight at around 6 p.m. Eastern, 6:15 p.m. Eastern. And a growing number of Republicans are expressing their opposition to this proceeding, claiming various things from its lack of constitutionality, which is totally not true, because we know that there's legal precedents to suggest that a impeachment trial is still valid and constitutional after the office holder is out of office. And we do know that one of the consequences of impeachment is barring the president from serving in any future federal office. So certainly within the Congress's constitutional authority to have an impeachment trial. I'll note, January 6th, Donald Trump, the former president of the United States, incited a siege of the U.S. Capitol building that left 5 people dead. You know, so if we have a lot of talk about unity, but you can't have unity without accountability. So people need to be held to account for the loss of life and for the interruption of our democratic institutions and processes. This is very, very dangerous. We did not have a peaceful transfer of power between Donald Trump and Joe Biden. What happened was a transfer. It was definitely not peaceful, and there needs to be accountability if we are to survive as a democracy, if we are a nation of laws and law and order, as Trump so frequently claimed to be. The president of law and order during his entire administration. So those articles of impeachment are heading to the Senate tonight. And over the weekend, we learned some more troubling news about Donald Trump's acts in his final days of office, seeking to overturn the will of the people and overturn the election outcome. So it turns out that he had a plot to ouster his acting attorney general, Jeffrey Rosen, in the final days of his presidency. And this Jeffrey Rosen replaced William Barr, who was by all means a Trump lackey and acolyte for the duration of Barr's term as Attorney General. And Barr had had enough and resigned in the final days of Trump's presidency because of his attempts to circumvent and overturn democracy. So the plan was to ouster Jeffrey Rosen and install Jeffrey Clark, who was an attorney at the DOJ and a Trump loyalist, with the goal of having Clark challenge the election outcome and try to pressure Georgia into overturning their election results to try to keep Trump in office. So this obviously didn't work, but the Department of Justice and members of people within the Department of Justice have confirmed that this plot did exist. So this is not looking good ahead of Trump's impeachment trial, and it's going to make it harder for Republicans to find ways to justify their lack of a conviction of the former president if we're continuing to learn about his corruption and his illegality in office, his attempts to circumvent democracy. And speaking of Trump's impeachment, Trump's legal team, Rudy Giuliani, his personal attorney, is in a lot of hot water. So he was one of the primary proponents of this allegation that the voting systems were rigged, and Dominion Voting Systems has filed a defamation lawsuit against him for $1.3 billion, accusing him of spreading, quote, demonstrably false allegations about their voting machines. So he was in the spotlight leading Trump's attempts to overturn the results of the election and spread the conspiracy theory that voting machines that were run by Dominion Voting Systems were switching votes from Trump to Biden. It's just totally insane. And I'll note that the New York Bar Association is looking into potentially disbarring Rudy Giuliani from the New York State Bar for these baseless voter fraud claims that I'll note went before 60 court cases across various jurisdictions, state, federal, the U.S. Supreme Court, courts across the United States. All 60 rejected these lawsuits as being bogus, having there being no merit to them, and so very, very. The chickens are coming home to roost for Rudy Giuliani and the rest of Trump's legal team from this endeavor, including Sidney Powell, who also has a multi-million-dollar, if not $1 billion defamation suit being filed against her for her participation in these baseless voter fraud claims. And in other Republican news, Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell is up to his old tricks. He is trying to use the threat of a filibuster to hold up the rules organizing the new Senate, which is split 50-50 with Kamala Harris being the tie-breaking vote as vice president. And he's trying to, this gives the Democrats the majority. And what McConnell is trying to do is use the split in the Senate as a negotiation tactic to get a power split going, where he gets guarantees from Democrats that they won't change the Senate rules to eliminate the filibuster. So he's threatening to use the filibuster to make sure that Democrats don't get rid of the filibuster. Mitch McConnell, up to his old ways. And the filibuster, of course, it needs to go. The filibuster is wildly anti-democratic and needs to go. And what is it? For people that need some primer on what the filibuster is, it is a relic of the Jim Crow South and an extra constitutional tactic of obstruction that was rejected by the framers. Alexander Hamilton and in the Federalist Papers 22, rejected the idea of the filibuster as being harmful to democracy. And the filibuster was first developed to serve the interests of slave-owning aristocrats and segregationists, and it was subsequently embraced and expanded on to prevent anti-lynching and related civil rights bills throughout the 20th century. And basically what it is it requires a 60-vote supermajority to override obstruction on a bill, because you can try to halt bringing a bill to the floor, and it requires 60 people to override it, a filibuster. And it was used during Barack Obama's presidency to obstruct most of his legislation, even legislation that's very popular, because as we know, despite the fact that we have a 50-50 split in the Senate with Democrats and Republicans, because of the way the Senate is malapportioned, Democrats in the Senate represent 40 million more Americans than Republicans do. And yet there's a even lock 50-50, and they are able to hold up any legislation with a 60, unless you get 60 votes. So the minority is requiring that you have a supermajority of votes in order to get the legislation passed that the majority has been voted in on and elected to accomplish. And then the Republican minority uses this inability to get anything done as proof that the Democrats are feckless and can never get anything done. And that's what they did under the Obama administration. And it's fairly shameful. So DC statehood, Puerto Rico statehood, let's get some more Democratic senators in the United States Senate and eliminate the filibuster and start getting some things done. The filibuster needs to go. So what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments section. Wildly curious to know what you guys are feeling this Monday morning. With a lot of comments chiming in. Thank you for the Appreciate You Award, Mark Goldman. What about student loan debt? Yes, there appears to be some movement on this. So Joe Biden, through executive order, has paused student loan debt and interest from collecting through September 30th, while he is attempting to possibly forgive up to $10,000 of student loan debt by executive order, but he wants some bipartisan congressional action on student loan debt. So we have yet to see what exactly is going to happen with the student loan debt, though I must say my personal position is that we must cancel all student loan debt. It will free up the economy, and the $10,000 of student debt cancellation is not addressing the systemic problems that are plaguing the student loan system, which is really predatory lending practices, no consumer protections for student borrowers, and it's unimaginably high interest rates and not enough payment plans and programs. So it needs a complete overhaul, not just cancellation of $10,000 of debt. And by the way, most people, that may solve the problem for some people, but a lot of people now have hundreds of thousands of dollars of student loan debt because of the way the interest capitalizes into the principal and expands on itself and becomes unsustainable. And student borrowers can't discharge that debt in bankruptcy, so it ruins people and is ruining people. So thank you all for joining so much. The AM Report this morning for Happs News, the network of now. We are live every weekday morning with all of your quick political news and headlines to get your day started right. If you like this journalism, if you like this content, please consider sponsoring it. Visit me at happs.tv/@Alex and buy me a cup of coffee or become a recurring monthly sponsor. Thank you, Lucia Ibar, for the Appreciate You Award. You can click the award button on Happs and let us know you're enjoying the program, or just click subscribe and get a notification every morning when we go live. We will be back tomorrow morning with all of your latest news and headlines. I hope you guys all have a fantastic Monday, and we'll see you all tomorrow. Bye-bye.